Vishaka Singhania.
Feel privileged to welcome you all on behalf of School of Business, Galgotias University, to the two-day conference on emerging trends in Indian economy and finance. I wish to extend a warm welcome to all delegates from various institutes and industries. Now, I would want our guests, Professor Dr. Renu Luthra, Vikas Gupta, Chairman of VFN Group, Dr. Sadanand Prusti, Dean, Dr. Jaishankar Warrior, Pro Vice Chancellor, Galgotias University, to take a dais. May I now request Professor Dr. Renu Luthra, Vice Chancellor, Galgotias University, to present a sapling to our keynote speaker of today's session, Mr. Vikas Gupta, Chairman, VFN Group. May I now request Professor Dr. Renu Luthra, Vice Chancellor, Galgotias University, to present a memento to our keynote speaker of today's session, Mr. Vikas Gupta, Chairman, VFN Group. May I now request Professor Dr. Jaishankar Warrior, Pro Vice Chancellor, Galgotias University, to present a shawl to our keynote speaker of today's session.
May I now request Dr. Sadanand Prusti, Dean, School of Business, Galgotias University, to present a sapling to Professor Dr. Renu Luthra, Vice Chancellor, Galgotias University. Dr. Sadanand Prusti, Dean, School of Business, Galgotias University, to present a memento to Professor Dr. Renu Luthra, Vice Chancellor, Galgotias University. May I now request Dr. Sadanand Prusti, Dean, School of Business, Galgotias University, to present a sapling to Professor Dr. Jaishankar Warrior, Pro Vice Chancellor, Galgotias University. May I now request Dr. Sadanand Prusti, Dean, School of Business, Galgotias University, to present a memento to Professor Dr. Jaishankar Warrior, Pro Vice Chancellor, Galgotias University.
May I now request Mr. Jatin Gambhir, Convener, to present a memento to Dr. Sadanand Prusti, Dean, School of Business, Galgotias University.
The inauguration starts with the highlighting the importance of lamp lighting ceremony. Dr. Renu Luthra, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Jaishankar Warrior, Pro Vice Chancellor, Academics.
Before we move forward, I would like to introduce Dr. Sadanand Prusti. He plays a major role in operations of School of Business. He has done his postdoctorate from University of Warsaw, Poland, PhD from Mysore University, MPhil from University of Hyderabad. He has 15 years of teaching experience. I request you, sir, to please come and provide a brief description about Galgotias University and conference.
Honorable Vice Chancellor of Galgotias University, Professor Dr. Renumam, respected Pro-Vice Chancellor, Academics of Galgotias University, Professor Dr. Jaishankar sir, Mr. Vikas Chairman, VFN Group, all the media people present here, all the research paper presenters and the participants from different academic institutions and the corporate, all my faculty colleagues and the staffs, and my dear students. A very good afternoon to one and all. This is the first conference of the School of Business at Galgotias University, and this initiative has taken by Mr. Jitin Gambhir and Dr. J.P. Pathak and Dr. Ramascha Kumar. Thanks to these people. Besides that also, all my faculty colleagues, they work hard, and my dear students also, they worked so hard. Otherwise, we could not able to organize such a conference within a short notice period, and thanks to one and all. Let me start first. The title of this conference is The Emerging Trends in Indian Economy and Finance, which is a very relevant topic in the present context of the Indian economy, which undergone the rapid changes. And all the papers, research papers, which will be deliberated in this, like today's lecture or today's different sessions, parallel sessions, you will find on the topic of not only the Indian economy, but also in finance or related to the finance. And the issues are, and which is very, very relevant, and all of you also know about that, how demonetization is impacting not only different sectors of the Indian economy, but also different sections of the population of the Indian economy. Not only that, recently also that goods and services tax, which has been passed in the parliament and will be implemented from 1st July 2017, how it is also going to impact the daily life and the budget of the Indian people. And not only that, in different sectors altogether, including the state's financial position. Besides that, recently also you might have heard there is Vodafone and Idea's merger, and which is a recent one, how it is going to impact the telecom sector. That also will be deliberated in this conference. Besides that, you will find how Niti Aayog, which is earlier was the Planning Commission, how it is planning in the next 3 years to reduce the fiscal deficit to 2% and the revenue deficit to 0%. And earlier also, as per the FRBM Act, Fiscal Responsibility and Management, Budget Management Act, by 2009, the fiscal deficit should be reduced to 2% and revenue deficit should be to 0% level, which government could not able to materialize the same. Besides that, recently also you might have observed many of these microfinance institutions, and government has taken the initiative to start the Mudra Bank. And because of that, how the socio-economic conditions of these people is getting affected because of the microfinance institutions. Is it a truth? That means really the socio-economic conditions of the people have improved, or it is just a myth? So that also will be listened to different speakers on this same. Also recently you might have found or you might have read that all the foreign company stocks are for the first time traded in the Bombay Stock Exchange. and how the Sensex is moving, that means either moving bullish or bearish because of the trading of the foreign company stocks in the Bombay Stock Exchange. That also will be deliberated in today's or by the participants from different academic institutions. Also, we have completed almost 26 years after the liberalization is over. Liberalization started in the year 1991. Now we are in 2017. Whether within these 26 years, the different sectors and the living standard of the people really improved, or the national income of India have really improved because of this liberalization and different policies of the government, or it needs to be further liberalize the economy, or there are some lacking or lacunas, that also will be deliberated in the conference. Besides that, there are many government policies announced by Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi ji, and all these policy measures will be evaluated by the researchers whether really the target and the objectives of different schemes have been benefiting the poor or it is not benefiting the poor. That also will be deliberated in this conference. Now I am not already, we are late, but just a few information I want to give it to all the paper presenters. Today in this campus, after this inaugural session, we will have the parallel sessions, where you will be presenting. Not only that, it's a great learning for our student participants and also the faculty members, that we can have a discussion on the same, we can learn from each other, we can have the rapport building, and in today's, all the presentation will be in this campus. Tomorrow, we have kept the student poster presentation at GU campus, that is in the Jamuna Expressway, Galgotias University campus, in the C building ground floor. Thank you so much. I will not take much of your time. Thank you so much. And we say all the best and the success of this national conference. Thank you, one and all.
I'm sure you have more energy than that to show our guests. My dear students, I'm very, very happy to welcome our chief guest, Mr. Gupta. I thank you wholeheartedly for taking time out to come all the way to Greater Noida. It's never an easy journey till here. My dear students, India is an idea whose time has come. It is one of the strongest emerging markets in the world right now. And the emerging trends that you will be discussing today are completely irreversible. The harbingers of doom, the naysayers as you call them, which means basically the ones who criticize and are pessimistic, criticized everyone. Demonetization would lead to a complete crash of the system. It would be a failure. The current dispensation, the government currently in power will again not be able to bring about the change it announces. But it's all been false. It's all been wrong propaganda. So today, when we are poised, when India is poised to take its rightful place in the global economy, I think this is the right time to really have this kind of a deliberation, this kind of a conference. So if I were to very briefly, I'm not a finance person or an economist, if I were to very briefly talk about what are the future trends, which as I said, they will shape the future of the Indian economy, they are irreversible. Primary amongst them, I would think, would be the developments that accompany improvement and efficiency in communications and transportation. I was looking at what Uber and Ola and the taxi services have done. Can you ever imagine downloading an app and getting a taxi which is roaming around nearby because it has dropped someone? But what exactly does it mean today in economic and financial terms for you? It means that capital is in circulation. Capital is in circulation and it brings about greater profits, making savings of time, efficiency and cost to the consumer and huge profits to the agencies. The other thing that has been spoken of a lot for decades is the growth of the Indian middle class. The high-paying jobs are coming to youth like you because of the emerging opportunities, emerging new sectors. And again, it's youth like you who will be shaping the economy a lot. You are the future, and sometimes when I say the wonderful opportunities, I go back in my times as a young person after my graduation when I was looking at what to do. I had to get over the disappointment of my parents that I didn't turn out to be an engineer or a doctor like every good family had to have one of each. That was the trend, and today also it's such a passion. My son is a doctor or an engineer. At that time there were hardly any options, and when I came back with a form and I said I want to do MBA, everybody wanted to know what on earth was that. This is the year 1979. That doesn't mean you have the privilege of counting my age. And when I walked into that class, there were 4 girls. And you can imagine what Lucknow University was like. But today, whether it is women at the workplace, whether young women, so many of them, wonderful young women, trying to strike it out in the corporate world, all of those faces I see today, those opportunities weren't there for us. So I'm very, very happy for you. I'm happy for India and happiest for Galgotias University that we have these opportunities where our students will do well and bring us laurels. Then again, all the technical aspects that you'll be covering. So as a non-technical person, let me cover one aspect, perhaps the impact on our finance systems and economy of our hostile relationships with our neighbors. Is there an impact? Is there a fallout? Despite our Prime Minister's efforts of public relations activities across the world, I do hope you will dwell on that. Then, another thing that is going to be there is falling prices of crude oil. Is that an opportunity for India? Certainly is. What is the fallout of it? What is the opportunity in it? And most importantly, Professor Sadanand talked about the schemes, the success and failure of the schemes that you will examine today. I would also say, will you be talking, and I do hope you will, about the ease of doing business that the government is trying to put forward for you? What does that mean for the economy? What does that mean for you? And most importantly, consumption. Today, for many years, the Indian youth has been an aspirational youth. All that you saw on television, in the media, the growth of the West, the opportunities, the consumption patterns, the trends, the fashion, the accessories, the electronics, all that is today a click away for you. So are these changing consumption patterns, or rather would I say, the robust consumption patterns that are emerging today, what impact, after all, consumption drives growth? So what impact will they have on growth of the economy? I'm sure you will deliberate on that. With these words, I once again welcome our chief guest, Mr. Gupta. Thank you so much, Mr. Gupta, for being with us. I congratulate the young team of Jatin, Professor Pathak, Ramarcha, Adarsh, all the finance and economics faculty, under the tutelage of Professor Sadanand. And I know I saw the persons who were helping out. So though I do congratulate the ones who have taken the initiative to put it together, I also am very grateful and I would like to put on an appreciation my record of the rest of the faculty of the School of Business who've teamed up with the entire finance team, economics team to make this a success, which I'm sure it will be a tremendous success. And last but not the least, Professor Sutherland said it's a beginning. It's the first conference. Rather late, but we in Galgotias, if we are late at something, we catch up. We catch it running. So now I expect to see a spate of conferences from each of the functional areas, marketing, HR, IT. I expect to see all of these in the next couple of months. So wishing you all the best for the success of this conference. Good luck. And my dear students, my advice would be to you. For today and tomorrow, it's a one-day conference or 2 days? Today and tomorrow, please ensure that the learning beyond textbooks that will happen, please listen to me very, very carefully. The learning that happens beyond textbooks, when you listen to experts debate, analyze, that is far richer to you. It opens an inquisitiveness in your minds. It opens an analysis in your analytical bent of mind. It makes you question. And your employers are all looking for a large number of young men and women who can question, who can analyze, who question the status quo, who want to do things differently, who can analyze and at least attempt to predict. So with these words, I wish you all the very best for the next 2 days of proceedings. Thank you so much.
Jai Sankar Variyar, Pro Vice Chancellor Academics, Galgotias University. He started his career after graduating at IIT Kharagpur in the Department of Chemistry. He moved on to Adarsh Chemicals and Fertilizers as a research engineer, where he was responsible for the research and development projects of the company. He then moved on to ICI, where he was primarily managing the analytical group of ICI's Corporate Research Center in India. He was also involved in simulation of gas dispersion during accidental releases and explosions using the ADMS software. In 2000, he moved to Unilever, where he was responsible for project management and was a lead scientist in the development of detergents and laundry soap. He moved to the business side as a development manager and was responsible for laundry soap development and also development metrics for measuring research and development effectiveness. He also set up the claims management cell for the Unilever HPC Asia. As Vice President of Colail Private Limited, he was responsible for the new product development of the concern and was responsible for many launches like deodorants under the Cuticula brand name and variants for the Medimix soap. He joined Vellore Institute of Technology as a professor in 2009. Sir specializes in chemical engineering with doctorate in physical chemistry. Strong background in product improvement programs and development of measurement methods. Sir is also experienced in setting up laboratories and managing projects from concept stage to completion. Now I would like to request Dr. Jai Sankar Variyar to deliver the welcome address.
It's really a pleasure to be here because it's the School of Business. It's the 4th or 5th event that I'm attending in the last 6 months. I'm quite thrilled that you're organizing so many events. I'm not a finance person, right? I only see the effects of, I'm a technical, hardcore engineer who has done product development, and the only reason I get into finance is because delays of projects cost money. Right? Time overruns, cost overruns, all these things cost money. The big changes that I see in the last couple of years, I'm not even going back to the time from 1992. The last couple of years, one is demonetization. I think as a nation we are gearing towards we're skipping the plastic and moving over to completely digital. Okay, that's one big thing. The second is of course GST. I don't understand the impact. I am from the excise sales tax regime, right? I knew how the cost breakups were, how to manage that. Now with the GST, I have to learn a whole new set of skills. I'm happy that you are going to learn. I'm not the one. Right. So the third is, I think, for me, is actually the fact that most of these transactions connecting payees to payers is actually happening through your mobile phone. Right. Dr. Luthra talked about the Uber, Ola, whether it's your grocery shopping, whether it's your Flipkart, Amazon, all of this can be handled just through your mobile. You just have an app, and from that you can pay, receive payments, you can order anything across the country, and that makes a big change. Because, for example, a simple thing, artisans who are located in remote places in India, they're able to advertise on the net, on the web, and there's a payment agency and there is a courier agency, most likely it's India Post, and you get the material delivered. These are big changes that are going to happen. It's already picking up, and you will find that quality and quantity and price, all these three things will be governed by these transactions. I look forward to the presentations. Okay, I wish the conference very well, and students, please take the effort to learn. Okay, thank you.
We have with us today Mr. Vikas Gupta, Chairman VFN Group, who is also a keynote speaker. He is a founder member and Chairman of VFN Group and V Financial Niche from April 2002. He has completed his MBA, ACCA, LLB, Finance and Marketing, Taxation Law from IIT Ghaziabad, BCom Honours from Delhi University. His company is primarily into taxation, solicitation, investment, banking services and other allied services. They provide an end-to-end solution to the people working in MNCs in and outside India. He is also working as a visiting faculty at VFN Group from January 2006 and have been teaching business law, corporate law and all other Indian and international allied laws in the various business schools and a motivational and career counseling speaker for various forums in and outside India. Also specialized in personality development, career development and motivational seminars for the students and employees of various MNCs. We highly appreciate and are grateful to you for accepting our invitation and being with us today. May I request you, sir, to please deliver the keynote address.
First of all, I would like to thank Galgotias University for giving me this opportunity to present my thoughts on this wonderful morning. I would like to thank Professor and Dean of this college, Mr. Sadanand Prusty, for arranging this platform, and my humble gratitude to Dr. Renu Luthra for extending a warm welcome, and to Dr. Jaishankar Warrior. So today I'll be taking you through the journey, how the Indian economy is going, what are the various factors that are, what is in it for you as students. So I began the journey like you from 17 years, 18 years back when I started my career, and also being an alumni of IIT Ghaziabad. I did my CA, MBA, I completed my LLM recently. So also I've been teaching for the last 16 years. So that is giving me an immense satisfaction, and to be with a young crowd like you all. So I'll just take you through this journey, and I hope you will get a lot of understanding about what is happening into the subcontinent. So India, with a disruptive leader today under the guidance of Mr. Modi, I can assure you that it's a beautiful journey, and you are all blessed to be part of this current India. So I have created the theme of my presentation as Shining India. So it's Making India and Shining India. So if you see what has suddenly happened in the last 2-3 years, which was not there 5 years back, 4 years back, and what is it which has suddenly led every country of the world eyeing in India. So we had very, very unstable government earlier. So now we have more stable government. We had a lot of policy paralysis earlier. Like as Dr. Sadanand rightly said, So since 1991, we opened up the era and liberalization of the Indian economy. But after that, there were a lot of ups and downs which were happening in Indian economy. And today, after so many years of wait, finally we can see that there is a leader, there is a stable government which is creating a lot to happen in the country, and we should all, being the citizens of India, be feeling blessed. This is the era which will give us tremendous opportunities to fulfill all of our dreams. I can assure you guys that you please dare to dream. This is the time to dream and make your dreams come to reality. I belong to a traditional business family. My father owns a 100-year-old Khadi Emporium in Chandni Chowk, and I have all, the DS group belongs to my family, the Rajnikanta group. In spite, all the business things. So today, whatever VFN group I created, so I still remember the days when my father gifted me 11,000 rupees on the day of the Havan when I incorporated this company. Those 11,000 rupees, even after demonetization, are still lying in the old currency in my wallet. So I've never encashed it. So that is the spirit, and today I'm proud, and with all the blessings of God and my family, today VFN Group stands at 200 crores of capitalization. So that's the journey in the last 16 years. So I'll take you further. So this is what I started with. So in the last 3-4 years, what we have seen is the cyclic turmoil which is created, a lot of policy paralysis happening. Now what is happening? Equity market is at its highest peak. Since last few days you have been seeing that the market is going up and up and up. So what does it signify? Even after, and there was this recent MCD elections which further fructified that yes, now the people are ready for the change. Now the people no longer see what has been bad with the last government, whatever has been bad with Delhi government in last 10 years. Now they are still giving the way to the center and wanting, yes, the central government should work for the welfare of the country, should work for the welfare of the states, and with the kind of new things happening, as Dr. Luthra has rightly stated, in terms of GST and a lot of policy changes, and Dr. Sadanand has also talked about it. So I'll also clarify a lot of these things into my upcoming slides. You see, these are few things which this government started. The Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Yojana, Atal Pension Yojana, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So these were the disruptive things which has put our Prime Minister on the world map. You would have, like you're all young guys, so if you see the history of the bureaucrats in the world, none of the Indian bureaucrats have seen so much fan following in the world, which Mr. Modi has. And today the entire world is eyeing on India. That what is it? So you see, one thing which has tremendously done is put everybody's concentration and eyes on India. No company like Audi, BMW wanted to have their offices, factories in India. For your information, Audi has a full-fledged plant in Aurangabad. So all the technology, though it is outside India, now it is indigenously produced. A lot of companies like Mercedes, BMWs are, beelining to create their centers in India. So that's the change. China is in a big trouble. You see what has happened to this. I will just share you a small story. In 1920, what we are today, the youngest the youngest nation of the world, the same situation was with US in 1920. Just because of the young population and the fantastic culture which they have embedded into the US economy, they ruled the world for 80 years. What was the major cause of recession in 2008? That was a lot of things, because they were not producing more kids. And then after 2000, there was a problem of feeding the oldies. $200 billion was going in funding the social security, which led to the turmoil. But today, what is the benefit, what is the, things which are leading India to that world map is what has happened with US some 90 years back. So this is a time when India can be a superpower. Have you heard about this term, VUCA? Okay, let me make it easy for you. So this is the thing which is presently happening, which is lot of volatility, lot of uncertainty, lot of complexity and lot of ambiguity. What has happened on 8th of November suddenly? There was an announcement late evening that प्रिय भाई और बहनों कल से 500 or 1000 का note will not work. It will be a illegal contract. So would anybody have ever dreamt this happening? Now with this new GST thing coming in, so a lot of things are there. But trust me guys, let me give you something very interesting, a food for thought for today. I take the platform because I also teach, so parallelly it is my moral responsibility to give you some food for thought. How do we see our customers? Though you are not prone to that, but always, when we have to close a customer's sale, then we are after his life. We call him, we wait for him, we put a beeline when he's not there. But once we are given a service and we have earned our incentives or we have earned our salary, then if the person is calling you for the after sale services, you don't even attend their calls. So it is your point of view. He has not changed. You have set the expectations. You have set the expectation, sir, I'll give you service. I'll wish you on your birthdays. I'll give you after sale services. But what happens? Suddenly after the sales, you even stop. There was a study with almost 3,000 people and everybody said the same thing. What do they call their customers at? Irritating, demanding, monsters, frightening, too much expectations, too much demanding. And are these the same customers whom we were wanting to, do anything to get one meeting for them just to sake of one closure of one sale? So that is our side of looking at it. The customer is remaining the same. You have set the expectations high and now it is your problem that how you make him service well so that he remembers you well. And it is a fact that the same customer gives you 60% of the new business comes from the existing customers. That's a well-established fact. So it's how you perceive. It's your side of seeing at it that whether, so you should always have, so though these four things, VUCA looks very problematic. But if you see the next slide, so volatility becomes vision. Uncertainty becomes, so we can just cut out the volatility by having a better vision. So we can cut down on the uncertainty by upskilling. So now, all the chartered accountant fraternity, all the lawyers fraternity is undergoing a fresh training for GST. So you have to upskill. So if you have to face the world, you have to upskill. The mantra is, you have to keep learning. So there is one thing in guys, so because of the heavy traveling schedule, I wanted you to show you some very fantastic videos, but I could not carry them. So, but there is in the YouTube, please see the story of an eagle. If you have ever seen it, first of all in life you have to learn. So this is the time when you are learning. Then you have to, at one point of time, like it happened once in my life also, after 11 years of my practice, we could not see where the company was going after the recession. Things were not doing good. I have traveled 86 countries of the world so far. And this year, we opened our own office in San Francisco, US. Now, VFN is a multinational company. We have a small office in Britain, UK also. So, we service all the multinational clients. So, 2011-12 was a big testing times for VFN Group. So, at that time, I was unlearning. So, at one point of time when you are doing a lot of things, you have to just sit back, take a sabbatical and then unlearn. And then prone yourself to relearning. Because that is it which will put you to work again. And since 2013, we have never looked back. So if you see the story of an eagle on YouTube, and I'm sure you will relish it. So what I said was, so volatility becomes vision, uncertainty can be overruled by upskilling, then complexity through customer centricity. Please, if you are the future of our country. If anybody goes to front-facing jobs, client servicing jobs, please do not take the leverage of not servicing customers. Set the expectations right. Please develop the trait of under-committing and over-delivering. This is what I've learned in my 17 years of my career. Because if you set the stage, if you set the expectations right, you will always flourish in life. And then again, ambiguity becomes agility. So it's how we look at it. Problem becomes a problem if we see problem as a problem. Now see, you will be astonished to see the fact that it took India 60 years since independence to be a 1 trillion economy. 60 years. And just 7 years in 2015, it was a 2 trillion economy. And just, my dear, 5 years we will take to be a 5 trillion economy. So the latest figures are we have surpassed 3.5 trillion. So that's the moment of rejoice. I think one of the speaker on the dais shared about consumption. Actually, you guys, we are the youngest population of the world. And that is the age group which does the highest consumption. And that is putting us on the world map. Because it's the consumption story which is creating the difference. Because the people who are in the age group of 15 years to 25 years are the people who demand the most, who eat the most. That's how you see all the American and British chains coming to India. You never had these kind of, McD's and KFC's and so many new such upcoming chains. Just because of the consumption pattern. So we are the young nation. 50% of the Indian population is under 25 years of age. That is the moment of celebration. I can assure you guys, if you have a vision, if you have a dream, please dare to dream and make your dream comes to reality. This is the time when you have to work hard, understand your professors, do a lot of learning from your colleges. Don't take this leverage that man is blessed with everything limited. हमें तो सांसें भी limited मिली. So beyond a certain time, even we will not be able to live. So इसलिए it is the time to just understand, to be serious in your careers and take a call, study well and dream and make your dream comes to reality. Because the kind of disruptive things which are happening in India can definitely make your dreams comes to reality. So if you see what is changing, so this slide will become more clear in my next slide. So if you see the Indian consumption story, so there is an exponential effect which is coming in. So everybody can see this slide. So what has happened in 80s? I think the frontliners, you people can appreciate because these guys were not even born. So we had one telephone, we had one TV connection, and anybody can recall this scooter, Lambretta? So
Bend it and then it starts working. If it does, you make it
exactly.
Bend it.
Yes, and then you kick-start it. So that is Indian jugaad, right? So now what is changing? How many people carry after the Jio 2 mobile connections? So one Vodafone, one Airtel and one Jio. So that's it everybody. So that's how things are changing. From one TV connection, so there was a time when I belong to a financial industry. So at one point of time, I just won it from somebody. I had 13 television sets, so I was forced to put one into my bathroom. So the things are changing like that, you see. So earlier, you used to wait for, I remember my childhood when I was 3-4 years old. So I belong to a rich family. So they had a Uptron television which opened with a shutter. And Wednesday, jab Chitrahar aata tha, so some 80-90 people used to come to our house and watch Chitrahar. And there was a time when one telephone, somebody's trunk call. So when I was born, there was a telephone at my house. So we were blessed. So there was a trunk call PP concept, pass pados. So that's how the things are changing. And now people have 4 or 5 mobiles each. I'm sure in this hall, we would have number of mobiles equivalent to one mobile store. If we count. So that's how things are changing. That's how the perceptions are changing. So now, you see these traits. So we were technologically poor. We had a lot of time, lot of chatting time, gossiping time. We were socially very inactive. Then standard working hours, 9 to 6, and then somebody comes back home, wife making the tea, and then you are just chatting, gossiping about the day, and then you sleep early. Then no brand preference, even any shirt, any trouser would do. Mummy would go to Coral Park and buy some 10 meters of white cloth, and everybody gets a kurta pajama out of the same thong. Yes? Isn't it or not? So now what is happening? So this, I'm not talking of very late, this was late 90s. Now what is happening is, so now we are tech savvy, isn't it or not? This smartphone has made a lot of things orthodox. Do you see anybody carrying a, other than the conferences I see this video camera? Otherwise, this is gone by. So you don't see any cameras. Do you see any cameras in the hands of the people? So we are becoming tech savvy. So earlier we were time poor. Earlier we were time abundant. Now we are time poor because there is a culture in MNCs. You work 24/7 because if you are providing your services to US clients, there is a time difference. So you have to be active for your clients. So there is a culture of 24/7 working. Earlier, now we are very, very socially active. We have long working hours. Aren't we brand conscious? So we want Apple books, we want iPhones, we want all Louis Philippe, we want all brands. So that means we have become more customer centric. We have become more brand centric. So that's how the trends are changing. So India moves from a savers market to a consumers market, and that is the opportunity which is getting created, and that's how all the countries of the world, all the companies of the world are eyeing in India. Because the maximum demand, so earlier in 1991, when we used to study history and geography, we used to study what are the causes of population explosion, poverty, and so blah blah blah. But is it still a problem? So that's the biggest opportunity. Now the number of people which we are adding into India we are seeing is as an opportunity, because all the world companies and countries are eyeing because of the consumption story being created in India. That's how you see a lot of Audis, a lot of BMWs, a lot of iPhones, a lot of anything being sold in India. Because of the market drastically changing from savers to consumers. The consumption story is creating a success story in our country. So this we have already covered, you see. So every 3-4 years now we are adding another trillion. And my dears, it took us 60 years to reach 1 trillion. So we should not forget that. And now the things, the way they are working, 1 trillion is not far that every year we will be able to add 1 trillion. If the things are growing at similar fashion. Now, talking about recently the development what is happening is, this government is doing tons of planning, tons of work, tons of disruptive things at ground level to make India shine. Recently, I was blessed to be, part of a training and a discussion with the chairman of Niti Aayog, Mr. Amitabh Kant. So we were on a platform and we were discussing the kind of vision this gentleman has created, and he is one of the right hands of Modi. Trust me, the kind of things which are happening, I could see all the IAS officers, all the ministries which are the Ministry of Skills and Development, Ministry of Power, Ministry of Labour. Today, I have to attend, after this session, there are awards which are happening in the evening, IMA awards. So all the dignitaries and CEOs will be there in Taj tonight. So I am also a speaker in that. So a lot of things, things are changing, and all these people are new faces of India, and India is in the safe young hands. And the kind of disruptive things which we are doing under the leadership and flagship of our Prime Minister, trust you me, Adityanath Yogi is a fine example. Nobody could ever believe that such a guy, I see a lot of masalas when I teach. So there was one Dharm Guru, what was that name, who is in jail? Asaram Babu. And there is one yogi who is doing this. So you see the combination? So that's sort of the perception of the people. Earlier, after Asaram Babu, people have stopped going to their Dharm Gurus. And now they are getting re-inclined, getting more faith, because you see, it's all about people. One has ruined his, the community, and now another is setting a fine example. Yes, such a yogi can also be one of the chief minister of one of the states, one of the biggest states in India. So that's how. It is just the outlook, how you see the things. It's how you see the things positively. So if you see, so I think Professor Sutherland has already talked about it. So after the opening up of the liberalization, the things which have been in 2000 and in last 10 years, 15 years and next 2 years, so cheap and skilled labor makes India most favored destination for outsourcing. But thanks to Trump government, so it is creating a lot of turmoil for our KPI industries. But yes, companies like Infosys, companies like Wipro, companies like TCS, they are finding a way, and they are now wanting to hire more people from US so that they can face, because they have millions of dollars being earned from the foreign soil. So, but this is just a short-term era. This is an era of volatility, and it will soon pass by. But Indians will always have opportunities outside world and within India. So you do not have a problem. You should not see any problem. So if you see, the lot of spending power is getting created in the middle class. So people are growing from a low middle class to an upper middle class. And that's how the more consumption stories, more consumption things are happening. So if you see, so by 2030, India likely to surpass both countries with an aggregated consumer spending of nearly USD 13 trillion. We will surpass even the US economy. So that's the kind of growth, and this is the moment of rejoice for all of you. And that's how your dreams will turn into reality, when this will happen. So with the kind of, things are happening, the way that different sectors are getting created, it is creating various investment opportunities. In earlier markets, when there was an inverse relationship between debt and equity. When equity was rising, debt was giving a negative return. But now we are seeing a paradigm change. In last few years, what we have seen is, even if the equity market is growing, we are also getting good returns in debt because of the cyclic corrections, because of the volatility, because of the lot of things happening, though it is a little technical. But just for your information, so there is nothing, no carrot and stick approach. So we have to learn with the changing times. We have to have a disruptive thought so that we can just go as the economy wants us to grow. So you see, if you see the market outlook, so this is the 2008-2010 era, and this is what is happening in the last 7-8 years. So are you with me on this? So if you see, this has created a lot of problem in the last 10 years, and these are the things which are happening. So so this is something about our company. So I think they have already talked, and this is few of our clients. So if you see, so we have started with few companies, and we are into IT sector, FMCG. So and this is the list is growing. Now, what is happening? Now we have strong financial regulatory system. Why, there is, problem happened with the Vodafone case opening. Now there is a strict guideline which is being set by the central government that no Supreme Court ruling will create a retrospective change, because that is creating a lot of full stop for FDI investment in India, because they are seeing it as a policy paralysis, and that's how they are not keen in investing in India. So you see, we are having a strong financial regulatory system. We have a robust Indian banking system. So our banks, so that protected us from the meltdown in 2008. So our banking system was only responsible for us to save from the crisis. Then prominent stock exchange, if you see, even when the world war like situations are there, when Syria is not leaving any stone unturned to be participating in the world war, still our economy is strong. Our equity market is setting the highest standards. So that's how the things are changing. Ease of doing business. So I think my future slides, further slides will talk about it. So if you see, over USD billion were invested in Indian startup in 2014 to 16 with more than 300 deals. That's the opportunity. Have you ever seen these kind of startups entering into India? So the year 2014 to 16 saw a spurt of startups in India with more than 1500 new ventures being set up. So these are the opportunities, which are getting created and which are setting the stage on fire. And that's how you are having a big vision, a big dream to come true. Because these are the platforms, now with the GST coming in. So I think the next slide. So you are already aware of these brands? Flipkart, SoftBank, Amazon, Venture Capitalists, L Capital, Ratan Tata invested in Snappy. So these are few funding which happened from the top bracket. So India on growth path supported by key reform investments. So I'm just skipping this because I think it's going too heavy now. So yeah, so just let me make you understand on a macro level. Rising investments in infrastructure and development projects, road and highways. So if you see, what is the main point of UPG? Roads. So by June, they are saying that all the roads will be neat and clean and thoroughly made in UP. And similarly, 18,000 kilometers of roads are getting constructed month on month, year on year under Modi government. So that's the kind of change which is happening. Construction infrastructure is being created, and with the, if you see the next slide, inflation meeting the central bank's target. So this year, the inflation, RBI has targeted 4 to 5% inflation in 17. So we are seeing a very generous and a moderate inflation being controlled, with the repo rate being very slowly changed. And after demonetization, what has happened is there has been a lot of liquidity in the economy. So I've intentionally deleted few demonetization slides because now we are seeing the aftermath of demonetization. It is leading to the fall in the interest rates. Trust you me, the infrastructure will see a big boom after next 6 months because a lot of turmoil is getting created due to a lot of these election things and a lot of these manifestos being created. So once things settle down a bit, we will see further decline and the home loan will be available at 7 to 8% rates, which will give a big boost to the infrastructure in terms of people getting cheap loans, cheap finance, cheap funding for growing their business, and again creating a lot of comfort and a lot of energy into the Indian economy and a lot of investment opportunities. And this is the time when a lot of FDIs are investing in India. A lot of funding we are being able to generate from the rest of the world to take our India to the next trillion era. So these are the highlights of few of the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana scheme. So this is just a snapshot on that. So I think all of you are aware of that. It has been a big success. Then Pradhan Mantri Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana. So all this, you see, this government is clearing the things at the grassroots level. Still 55% of our population is dependent on agriculture. You will be astonished to know that agriculture has always been tax exempt. 2 days back there was an article in Economic Times which is putting the agriculture income taxable from next year onwards. So that's how things, so nobody is, because now people are taking advantage, the agriculturists are taking advantage of this law. So they are also coming into the tax from next year onwards. It is a proposal in the next budget. Smart cities, bullet trains, if you see, some tests starting up in Punjab. Already this is on a big way, the things are changing. Make in India shaping up, India manufacturing. Now these are the things, the Make in India, we are getting a foreign investment in defense, railways, construction, and the Clean Ganga project, making eco-friendly reforms, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Abhiyan. So these are the few, disruptive changes, which is creating a lot of opportunities for, there is no gender bias being created. So this is leading to a lot of growth into the building up foreign, so you see, building up foreign relations. This is one of the most important achievements. People have, cursed him, if you see on the Facebook, that Modi ji take 18 flights a day, 14 flights a day. But you see, this has actually, helped us in building the foreign relations, because this has only led all the countries of the world eyeing in India and invest in India. Had he not visited, created that camaraderie with the top brackets there, people would not have been benefited. A lot of companies would not have, a lot of things happening in India. So India to lead the global growth, because you see, the change, India, Brazil, China, US, Eurozone. So we will surpass, by next 10, 15 years, we will be a bigger economy than China. So that is all from my side. So hope you had some glimpses of the Indian economy, and I just tried to make it simple and more informative. I would have gone into details and some income tax sections. So, but I think you would all be then yawning and sleeping, and this you will be cursing me for this morning. So I just tried to make the thing simple. So I would like to end my session by saying something which I have been doing for the last 16 years and taking the responsibility from the state to get it going with you individuals. Guys, I belong to a very, traditional and conservative family. So our Bania community is not supposed to be very extravagant. And so one thing which I learned right from the beginning of my life, which I learned from my people, my family, is सुखेशु दुखेशु महताम एक रूप ऐसा जो सुख में और दुख में एक समान व्यवहार करते हैं वही लोग आगे बढ़ते हैं. So how do you interpret that? Very simple example. So I will give some example for the first liners and start with the backbenchers. So like all the young guys, so you freak out. So you go to McD's or whatever, KFCs and all. So one fine day you go to your house and your mom has prepared a moongi dal and a khichdi, and you were just craving to have some dal makhani or some butter chicken or something. So generally how do we react? Yeah, kya banaya? No khichdi, no ghee ki sabzi. And you just ruin the day. You just ruin the, maybe that day your mom had a bad day, maybe she had no vegetables at home. You never view the background, you but start complaining. Because you only complain hoping that you wanted to have dal makhani and she did not cook it. Right? It is your way of seeing it. But problem is not at the other end, problem is from your end. So that's why it says, Sukheshu, Dukheshu, Mehta Mekrupta. So अगर मूंगी दाल नहीं खानी, you can call this, I just forget these new chain, Chaska or something, blah blah, or some this new chain, whatever. So and order a dal makhani and keep the things happy at home. Is it or not? So rather than complaining your mom, क्यों खिचड़ी बनाया, क्यों मूंगी दाल बनाया, you order dal makhani and make everybody happy.
Or if you are the new age mom like me, I'll bring up my children and say, "Bahar se khana banao."
Exactly. And
moongi dal khana.
So cheers to that, right? Kudos to you. So that's all. So you don't see problem.
You're going to come home and say you're not going to have what I cook.
And please order one for me as well. Exactly. So you know, that's all. So you rather than making the things, excuse me, just silently, 2 more minutes, I'm ending it there, don't worry. So, what I'm saying is, rather than creating a bad thing, keeping everybody worried, getting angry over small things, you can be happy. So you have to live as if this is the last day of your life. Always live happily, spread happiness. And for the frontliners, so I took one example. So a lot of times we are worried when we are in our careers that when we become 45 years, 50 years in our careers, a lot of times we don't know. We have earned 2 crores, we have earned 1 crore, we have an FD of 50 lakh, still we are craving and we don't know where to head. Like, ma'am, if you are with me, so now you are a vice chancellor, and after that you are saying, now I have done everything in life, what's next? What do I next? What do I do next? So at this point of time, you have to see how has been your glorious past. Get energy from how you have driven that journey. Very recently I took my boys to a trip to McLaughlin, and I was not prepared, so they forced me to take them to Trind Mountain. Guys, trust me, have I seen those horrible videos and photographs before that, I would not have started with them. I was cursing myself, and And every movement of my, going another 50 meters, I was having a Hanuman Chalisa part. So I'm not in shape these days. Earlier I used to be a marathon runner, so I recently out of my head gained some 10-12 kgs. But I was just cursing myself and I was cursing them. Why did you take me for that? At least 15 days you have to train before you go for a trekking. But when I was coming back, I was just worried. Is it the same mountain we climbed yesterday? And the temperature upside was like -1 degree. But that gave me an immense courage to come back into shape. That still created that enthusiasm. Because Gupta, still you will do it. You still have that courage. So all people at one point in life have to reconnect their courage and come back. So learn, unlearn and relearn. And thank you so much.
Now, I request Dr. Sadanand Rusty, Dean School of Business, to present a sapling to Dr. Srinivas Suru. Now, I would like to request Professor Jitin Gambhir to present a memento to Dr. Srinivas Suru. Now, I would like to request Dr. Shirur to brief about the rules of technical session. Please, sir.
Now, as far as rules, they are very simple rules, especially for participants. The total time limit given to them is around 10 minutes. Okay. And in between, we panel members can ask them questions, but students can ask them once their presentation is complete. If they have any, just note it down and then you can ask questions. Now, before we start this presentation, now very briefly, the basic objective why we are including students in these conferences is because you should learn to think objectively. We have our own prejudices, our own intuitions, and our own prejudgments by which we take managerial decisions. Now we should start learning to take decisions based on the ground realities and empirical evidences. So this is what actually we call as objective research. And when the presenters and academicians are going to present, see based on what type of methodology they are using and how they are arriving at conclusions. So that will improve your skills to analyze the things objectively. And that is the basic objective why we are making you people see. And it's basically a test of your patience also. Within 10-15 minutes you have to understand a particular topic and make your own judgment about it. Recently we had a very major policy decision on demonetization. Now as an economist, it was for the first time that any country has demonetized 86% of their currencies. And in fact, when the best economists and finance experts were analyzing the thing, it was in fact a learning experience from them. And even a renowned economist like Subramanian, who is the chief economic advisor, he said that for the first time, I'm learning the behavioral aspects of the policy changes, which we usually, as economists, we consider rationality, that logically the things will evolve. But the way the demonetization process evolved, the behavioral aspect was equally important. And that also we are trying to include in our decisions. So these type of things I think you should be learning. So secondly, as a matter of advice for the participants, when you are presenting the paper, now we may be little critical. Okay, now you are young people, we have been writing articles for a number of years. So when you criticize it, please don't take it personal. Okay? Because we are there to criticize you, we have gone through it, and whatever we feel based on 10-15 minutes of your presentation. And try to build on those criticisms. That is very important. So don't take it personally and don't take it antagonistically. So it's a more learning process. So with that, take it constructively. That will improve your skills later. Okay. So with that, let us start the presentation and hope that it will be very fruitful for all of you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Ajati, to represent his research paper on corporate ethics and social responsibility, Vedic theory of debts and CSR, legal regulations and CSR initiative by Maratna Company, Yale, India Limited.
Convener of this conference, Dr. Jitin Gambhir. First of all, I would like to say my sincere thanks for providing me this opportunity to present my paper. This paper is an attempt to understand CSR from the point of Vedic theory of debts. Additionally, an effort has been made to understand CSR initiatives taken by Maratna Company, Yale India Limited, in view of CSR legal regulations. Business ethics and CSR basically related concepts. Business ethics are moral guidelines for the conduct of business based on notions of what is right, wrong, and fair. There is no single definition for CSR, but as per Philip Kotler and Nancy Lee, who were the author of a very famous book on CSR, doing most for business and cause. As per them, a commitment to improve community well-being through discretionary business practices and contribution of corporate resources. The EC defines CSR as the responsibility of enterprises for their impact on society. There may be many definitions on CSR, but there are three principles that are imbibed in every definition of CSR. These principles are: CSR is a business imperative, CSR is a link to sustainable development, CSR is a way to manage business. Our ancient Vedic literature, Vedic philosophy has given a concept of Purushartha. There are four types of Purushartha: Kam, Arth, Dharma and Moksha. And as per Niti Shastra, or sometimes it is referred as Trivarga, written by Lord Brahma, who was the creator of this universe also. Anybody who is following Kam, Arth and Dharma will get the moksha. So there are a number of dharma which one has to follow, and one of the dharma is pay your debts. It has been said that anybody who is coming on this earth, he has to pay some debts. He is coming with some debts and he has to repay those debts. So what is the concept behind this debt theory? I tried to find it. What is the logic? What is the concept to have these type of debts, basically different type of debts? So what I understand is, concept is basically at whatever stage you are in your life, you are taking everything from the society, from the nature, from the environment, from the universe. So it's your duty to pay back those things. It's your duty to keep those things in a state so that your new generation or your coming generation can use those things. So this concept is for individual. So I think this same concept is applied to companies also, because companies are using these resources in a greater way basically. They are using environment, they are using natural resources, they are taking from the society. So it's their duty is their dharma to give it back to our society, to give it back to nature, to give it back to environment. So in my view, CSR is not a Western concept, not based on Western values, but it's an Indian concept. It is imbibed in our Purushartha model. And CSR is a way to companies to indebt themselves from these debts. So CSR is totally an Indian concept. So what are these type of debts here actually? So as per Taittiriya Samhita, there are three types of debts: Devrin, Pitrin and Vishirin. Devrin is a debt towards towards deities, toward powers who have given us invaluable gift of air, water, fire, food, etc. Pitrivin is a debt towards our ancestors, our parents, who have propagated their lineage and are the cause of our birth. Rishirin is the debt toward our teachers, sages, discoverers, inventors, who have given knowledge and wisdom to humanity and due to which our civilization today is at this stage. Another holy book, Shatpat Brahman, introduces two more rains. One is Nirayan, another is Bhutarin. Nirayan is debt towards our fellow human. Bhutarin is plant towards plant, animals. So further, I have basically linked these debts towards the CSR. In fact, you will be astonished to know every focus area of CSR guidelines issued by Government of India is linked with these things. First of all, they were in debt toward deities. So focus area under CSR regulation, under CSR guidelines is ensuring environmental sustainability. It's nothing new. This is basically they were in. And some of the projects initiated by corporates and private companies as Project Jaldhar by GAIL, water conservation projects by Bajaj Auto, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan by various companies is nothing. It's a way to indebt themselves from this level. The next is focus area of CSR regulations, promotion of education, creating universities and institutes. So again, it's a Rishi simply. Research centers by Tata Birlas, obviously by Galgotias also. Vocational skill institutes by various PSUs. It's a way to indebting themselves from Rishi. Answering care to older. So GAIL Saksham, Old Age Home, Daycare Center by Infosys and Dower is a way to indebt themselves from literary. Eradicating poverty, disease, promoting gender equality and empowering women. Program like Gender Equality by Seva Academy, GAIL Arogya, in which we care for diseased people, GAIL Shashak. These are the way to indebt themselves from their identity. Ensuring care for plant and animals, GAIL Harit, Gogri by SGFC, Animal Health Hospital, these are way again indebting themselves from Abhutaren. CSR regulations in India. It was understood by Government of India that they alone will not be able to succeed in their endeavor to uplift downtrodden society. So they introduced these CSR regulations and made compulsory from April 1, 2014. So these are the three guidelines. Any company is coming under one of the guidelines, then he has to follow these CSR regulations. Other companies having a net worth of rupees 500 crore or turnover of 1000 crore or having a net profit of rupees 5 crore, the company will have to follow CSR regulation. And regulation is every company has to pay expend 2% of average net profit preceding 3 financial years on CSR activities. So board level CSR committee will have 3 or more directors with 1 at least independent director. Responsibility of the company's board is to approve and disclose CSR policy in the annual report and on the company website. Responsibility of the CSR committee is to formulate and recommend the CSR policy and amount of CSR expenditure and regular monitoring of the CSR initiative. Section 134 financial statements. If a company somehow failed to spend a CSR amount in a particular financial year, then the company has to specify the reason for not spending the amount. If a company contravenes the provision of section 134, then company shall be punishable with fine which shall not be less than 50,000 rupee but may extend to 25 lakh. These are the focus area of CSR activities we have discussed also. See, almost all the activities, all the focus area comes under that. It's a study of Gail India Limited. The Gail India Limited is having about
Okay, yeah, three
CS.
more minutes. 3 more minutes.
Okay. It's a CSR umbrella under GAIL. That's called GAIL Hriday, Corporate with Heart. They are having various initiatives under this umbrella. So these are the various initiatives taken by GAIL India Limited. GAIL Ujjal, GAIL Jaldhar, Arogya, Koshal, Unnati. These all initiatives are in some way related with one of the debt actually. So towards a bright future is received in integrated water management program again the Devarim. GAIL Arogya program is indebting themselves from Niridin. It's a wellness program. So these all are the programs they are trying to indebt themselves from these rates. This is the CSR fund allocation of GAIL, and for this financial year 2015 and 16 they have allocated almost 162.63 crore for CSR activities. However, they need to spend only 102.34 crore because that is the 2% of their preceding three financial years average of 577.05 crore. But they have included 0.7% more in this 2% because that amount in a particular financial year is not lapsable. It's non-lapsable amount. So if they have not spent this amount in the previous year, they have to include in the next financial year. So that's why they have included this 0.74% more in 2015 and 16. So review of literature on CSR makes it evident that concept of CSR is not new. This concept is created and followed by our ancestors. Also, all CSR activities are nothing but a repayment of 5 Vedic debts with which a person born. A company uses more resources from the society, nature and Mother Earth, and it is company's prime duty, prime dharma to give it back to society, nature, human, animal, etc. And CSR is not the charity, but a duty and dharma to follow. And by studying GAIL CSR activities, I can conclude that GAIL CSR activities are aligned with government requirements, and further scope of research is there. That you can explore some other companies to ascertain the expenditure in line with CSR policies. So this is one of the saying from Mahatma Gandhi: the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Thank you. It's not problem-oriented research actually. I studied and reviewed the literature on the subject, and my interest was to find out whether CSR is an initiative from Western countries. It is on Western thought, or it has some relation with our Indian thoughts. So I studied a number of books and literature on the subject, and I found that nowhere they have related it with the Indian concept. There are a number of Vedic theories, but nobody has tried to relate it with depth theory. And in my opinion, it is correct. It is word by word it is related with depth theory. So what?
You know how much of the profit overall, including indirect tax and direct tax, companies are paying to the government? The profit, okay, I will give you the figure, around 80% indirect and direct tax included, because 30-35% in any case is corporate tax, but they are paying sales tax and excise.
Right.
So after paying 80% their profit proportion, normally it is taken as part of revenue. You pay excise and sales tax part of your revenue. But if I take it as percentage of profit, so after that, you expect that you have to pay CSR charges, say 2-3%. Now, how is it justified? Are you not overburdening the company like this? Now, for example, any new policy implemented, say by BJP government, you have Swachhata tax, Swachhata Abhiyan tax, you have got Krishi tax, cess tax. Now, how long you can keep on burdening till they break down? There is a limit to it. Everybody has their own favorite tax for corporate without knowing whether they survive. And the day they incur losses, like Kingfisher. Now we are all bashing Vijay Mallya. But he was a person who was paying 60-70% of revenue as tax. And we were enjoying that. And now when we become bankrupt, so do we have a policy see that they have problems. How can say government pay back? They tax when they are having profit, but there is nothing pay back when there is loss. So that balance also, I mean, we have to discuss.
Sir, you are absolutely right, and views are very correct. But again, in my opinion, paying tax and doing this dharma or duty is, I think, slightly different. And you
Paying
can
tax is also done.
right, sir. That's right. And number of companies are launching these Swachh Bharat, Clean India, and this charity programs and wellness programs and this water management programs. I think these are the outcome of this CSR policy. And CSR policy has strictly mentioned a number of things that you have to spend in only in these things. So once you are going to, you are paying tax and you are donating some of the amount to PM Relief Fund and all other funds. So that fund is being spent by the politicians and all other things. So there no control on there basically. So but CSR expenditure there is control by government, control by CSR regulation. So this money is actually going towards the uplifting the society. That's my view.
From next point onward, please try to be empirical as far as
Right.
So you have to derive the business opportunity out of that. Many of these companies, they used to do that, including the foreign countries. Have you found any evidence that GAIL, after following the CSR activities, their stock price have increased so much? Have you calculated or found out that any correlation between the stock price and the CSR activities? They got it, or the profit of the company have increased. That means following post like pre-CSR activities, how much was the profit, and post-CSR activities, like how much is the profit have increased or decreased. So are you finding any type of such thing, or the sales revenue have increased as they have suppose following the CSR activities? Or we will take this one as that it is a compulsion from the government that all the PSUs out of their total profit, 2% they have to spend towards the CSR activities. Hence, I am following the obligation of the government, and hence I am just spending that 2% of my profit on the different philanthropy activities. Because it needs a clarification on this.
Sir, first of all, this binding of 2% is not only for KSU, it is for every company. Secondly, my study was not on this particular, what is the benefit analysis of spending this much of amount. This study was on basically what is the concept, what is the Vedic theory, what is the Vedic philosophy against this CSR. That was my study. So, but again, sir, I welcome your suggestion, and certainly I will try to give a next presentation on this, considering this analysis, what you are saying. Thank you, sir.
okay, any student wants to ask a question?
Questions from audience?
You see you have not any empirical done any empirical study, but about the philosophy you might have done some empirical study as well. Taking up how many journals you have searched, how many papers you have downloaded and reviewed. And looking at the papers, probably you can say whether the people have actually followed the right philosophy. So this can be a very good review of literature. The saying is if you have not done that is the philosophy only. So this will probably pursue your review literature.
Sure.
Just a small question.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Saif Siddiqui from Jamia Millia Islamia is presenting a paper on volatility, spillover and fall in crude oil prices, a select of Asian stock market. So why we are going to study this paper? The first one is that oil is a major force which actually impacts every economy. Be it an Indian economy, be it any other economy, but it actually affects the economy. Reason being, there are various factors. There are certain countries which are being the importers of the oil, whereas there are certain countries which are being the exporters of the oil. So that is the only reason that this paper has been used. Now I have certain, I have reviewed certain papers, so I made the paper like an empirical study, and the objectives of this paper is to ascertain the correlation among the oil price and the other indices. Indices means
the stock factor or the stock market index which we are using for the various countries. The second is to forecast the persistence of volatility. Volatility means a fluctuation in the oil prices with the other indices. And the next is to assess the direction of causality. Causality means whether one is related to the other variable. That is what actually causality means. And we are just assessing the causality or the direction of causality between the oil price and the other indices. So for this I made certain hypotheses. Hypothesis means there is a null hypothesis and an alternate hypothesis. So this is a null hypothesis which is there. There is no correlation among the oil price and other indices. There is no volatility persistence in the oil price and other indices. And there is no causality, means there is no cause and effect relationship between the oil price and the other indices. What I used, it's basically an empirical study, so what I used is eViews. eViews is a software which we are using, and the methodology which we are using is a descriptive statistics which actually describes our variables, the correlation test. Then it's GARTS model. GARTS is basically to forecast the volatility and rank the causality test, which is actually giving us a cause and effect relationship. Now what we have taken is the data from June 2014 to August 2016. Now, what all indices which we have used means we have taken the Asian stock market. So the 7 stock indices which we are using is SSC Composite of China, Malaysia FTSE, Indonesia JKSC, South Korea KOSPI, Singapore STI, Japan Nikkei 225, India S&P BSE. So these are the these are the indices which we are using from Yahoo Finance, and these are the major indices of these 7 countries. Now, this is a descriptive statistics, means the result of a descriptive statistics which actually describes what is our data. Now, if we see about the standard deviation shows the volatility, like how much volatile is it, how much least volatile it is. So if we see, there are certain factors which shows that yes, this STI is it's like a high volatile, and if we see oil is high volatile, and this one, FTSE is least volatile. Now, Jack-Berra test is actually a test which depicts the test of normality, whether our variables are normally distributed or not normally distributed. So if the probability value is 0, it means they are not normally distributed. The next one is a correlation test. Again, we conducted a correlation among these variables, whether they are correlated or not. Over here, we'll find that there are certain values which are, negatively correlated. You can see it, like minus 0.0064, and there are certain variables which have a positive correlation. So we can actually measure that there are certain variables which are negative correlation, and there are certain variables which are having a positive correlation. Now, this is the GARTS model. It actually identifies the volatility, whether the variables having a volatility persistence or whether they are volatile or not. There are 2 variables, alpha and beta. Alpha term is an arch term which gives us a short-term volatility, whereas beta is a GARTS term.
Alpha and beta are the variables.
It's basically, these are the 2 terms, which is like alpha is an arch term and beta is a GARTS term. So it actually gives, it actually defines the short-term volatility, and beta actually defines the long-term volatility. Now, how we assume that this is actually having a volatility or not? If the probability value is less than the critical value, it means it has a volatility. So over here, beta is a GARTS term, means if we say volatility means that the past variables are affecting the values of the future variables. So if we see the beta term, there are the variables, and all the variables having a probability value less than the critical value, that is 0.05%. So we can say that these values or these variables are having a high persistence of volatility. Now, if we are adding the coefficient of the values, the coefficient of alpha and beta term, then we can find out the persistence of volatility, whether they will persist in future or not.
Beta itself is the coefficient.
Beta itself is a coefficient.
Yes.
Okay.
Beta is attached to a variable. any constant is attached to a variable is called coefficient.
Okay, so beta itself is a coefficient, and you are saying that the coefficient value of a beta term is 0.092, right, sir? Okay, thank you, sir. So beta is a Gauss term, and which actually shows the value of, the volatility. Now the next one is a granular causality test. Granular causality test says that one variable is actually, granular causes. Granular causes means it actually causes the other variable, it actually affects the other variable. So over here, I have taken the selected null hypothesis which actually granular cause each other. How we will find?
Before doing the granular causality test, have you checked for the stationarity test?
Sorry?
Have you checked for
Yes. I have checked the ADF test, unit root test. By that only then I will go for the granular causality test. Sorry?
found in the data series? Are they stationary?
They are stationary.
Are they non-stationary?
They are stationary.
They are stationary.
They are stationary.
They are stationary at first difference or second difference?
They are stationary at first difference.
First difference.
At null hypothesis they were not stationary, but at the first difference they were getting stationary.
They were stationary. And for this granular causality test,
Yeah.
you have used that stationary data or non-stationary data?
Sir, I have taken the non-stationary data.
Non-stationary.
Yeah.
But one of the assumption of this granular causality test is that data series should be stationary.
So basically, if we are taking the data has to be like, it should not be, you cannot change the data. It's like you have taken the data, first you will assume that data with the null hypothesis that it is at unit root, it is not stationary. And then again, we have to apply the data or that at unit level, that whether it is getting stationary or not. But the data will be the same now.
That's fine. But you can't use in this case the original data series. Data series you should not use for the granular causality test. Which data you will be using? After converting the original data series into the first difference data, that is your stationary data series.
Okay.
Then you use the granular causality test.
Okay, you are trying to say that if you are trying to have a granular causality, you need to go for a return state. The log differential stage. Right? This is a log differential stage only. That you have to do a granular causality on a differential log stage. So after this, what we can see, how we can say that these variables are granular causing each other. We can see the probability value. I have taken those variables or those.
You are taking first difference.
Yes, sir.
Now you take first difference.
Check that who are these students are creating noise, you ask them to get out of this room. After a long time, like how many times I will be telling that please keep quiet. Listen carefully what we are discussing. If you can't able to ask the questions, first I requested, none of you are obliging that request. Is it the way?
You are applying
Volunteers, please be there.
granular causality test to first difference
Yeah.
instead of the original data.
Yeah.
Then what is the loss of information?
Loss
Because you can't just, it's not a statistical manipulation. Because when you convert a data into first difference, obviously a lot of important information gets lost.
Yeah.
That means now what you are trying to see is whether the difference is correlated or not, and not the actual
Right.
values.
Right.
So the interpretation which you will be giving and conclusion will be totally different. Okay, so you have to be aware about that, because nothing comes, with freelance. So when you are trying to manipulate it and make it into first difference, so that it becomes stationary, and you can use granular. Okay, so granular causality test you can use, you can conclude. But then, what are its implications on the study you want to do? You can't say that the price, you can say the difference in the price.
The returns in the price. That is the only difference. Right, sir. So actually, this granular causality is actually depicting that all those variables which are affecting unidirectionally to the other variables. How we can judge it? With the probability value. If the probability Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha, Dravid,
Means you are studying in a five-star.
No, this is college. This is college, not the course.